Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Board States Pod. I am your host, Reggie, who rarely eats veggies, and I am joined by my co-host, as always, Jazz, with all the pizzazz. Today we have a special episode here. We're talking about 3 games each for the main topic, games that we love but rarely play. And I have to give a shout out to the YouTube channel All You Can Board, who now has a podcast as well, who they did a video about this, and it made me think of this. There are so many games in us gamers collections that just gather dust, but we will never ever get rid of them because when we do play them, they just hit so great. So that's what we're gonna do for the main topic. Afterwards, as always, we're going to do En La Mesa, which is our first impression segment. I will be talking about a small fireworks 2-player game called Pyrotechnics, and Jazz will be talking about one of my favorite games, Moon Colony Bloodbath. So that will be really exciting. Good morning, good afternoon, Jazz. How you doing today? We are recording for the first time in daytime ever for the behind the scenes. What's going on?
What's going on, Reg? I'm doing well, man. Can't complain. Like, it's been some time since we've gotten together to record, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Me too. This is great. It's always a good time to talk about the best hobby in the world. Before we get into the main topic, as we like to do, I would love to have another state of mind, and this time it rhymes. The game that has inspired me today is 3 of a Kind. Okay, have you talked about this? Have you seen the 3 of a Kind party game, or do you own it?
Yes, I've played it. I own it. It's a fun one.
Okay,
I'll be honest though,
yeah.
it's not my favorite in this genre, but I do really enjoy it. I think it's good with the right crowd.
Yes, and that's great. It's good to say that, because in this genre, as what I would say is, I'm actually going to be talking about a party game in the main topic here, but in terms of like creative word games, which I would call, the So Clovers, the code names, the Itos. It reminds me of a few games, but this is one of my favorite ones. So that's great. What are some in this genre that you prefer? I
think you named them. Ito is one that I really love. I think Codenames is a classic. I'm a huge fan of Green Team Wins.
Oh, I love Green Team Wins also.
It's
yes.
It's probably my favorite, and I think 3 of a Kind is not, like I said, the reason it's not my favorite is because I've just had more misses with this one. And again, it could strictly be from the crowd of people that I've been playing with, and sometimes the time of day that I play. This is one thing when it comes to playing games, right? You got to have the right crew that you have the game with, and making sure that it's like the optimal setup for the game. And I think that's what's crucial about picking a game. You want one that's gonna be successful. And I've had games, again, I know myself, I know you included, have probably played a game that maybe the first time it didn't go well, or maybe the opposite. The first time you were really enamored by the game, and then when you played it again, you were like, oh, it's just meh, right? So again, this is one that I've probably
as
just
the Gen Z would say, mid.
Like this is like just one that I've had some of those, I guess, meh moments with. But again, I honestly think it was more so the group of people that I was playing with, because I was in it, I was ready to go. It just kind of maybe fell a little bit flatter in some points. But I've had some really good times, because when I got it was at a convention, and I had a really good time with the people that were there. Again, those are people who are ready to game at that time, right?
Yes, and the more I think about it, I have played this a lot with gamers, which is, I think, what I like about certain party games, and we'll talk about that in the main topic actually. But awesome. How this game works for our listeners, our dearest gentle listeners. I am watching Bridgerton season 4 right now. Not as exciting as the previous ones, but whatever. Dearest gentle listeners, hello. How this is going to work is that there's a category, and then what ends up happening in the real game is the next 3 players in turn order will select adjectives for that category. The first player gets to pick one of 2 categories. The next 3 players pick one of 2 adjectives. And so, and I'm not even going to give an example. The example that we're going to do is we're going to do 3 rounds of this. Cereal brands is what I came up with here.
Ooh, I like that.
So just brand, yeah, we love, everybody knows cereal. I've got 2 board game ones. I was like, here's the non-board game one, just for fun. So cereal brands, and so the adjectives are, and I did, a couple of these are straight from the game, and a couple I just kind of threw in so I could come up with an answer beforehand. And Jazz is on the spot here. So Jazz will be making these answers as he goes. So number 1 will be most magical. Number 2 will be most likely to be a grandfather. So just put abuelo in there, abuelita. And number 3 is most likely to win a spelling bee. So these are some weird ones that some of them are just straight up adjectives or adverbs or whatever, but this is a bigger one. And what ends up happening in the game is everybody who's playing will write down the answer that comes to them. It's a little bit like herd mentality, a little bit like green team wins. You want to be in the majority, unlike some classic games or other games of this genre. And so if you match with anybody, just if you're on the same wavelength with anybody, another game in this genre, then you're going to get points per person that says the same answer as you. And it doesn't have to be factually correct. That's my favorite thing in the rule book. It's like it said prehistoric animals was the category, right? And if the adjective was furriest, and I wrote saber-toothed tiger, and Jazz wrote saber-toothed tiger, we're getting 2 points. It doesn't matter that that's not technically, or it was dinosaurs. Yeah, sorry, the category was dinosaurs. It doesn't matter that saber-toothed tigers aren't dinosaurs, but we said the right answer. So what we're gonna do is I have my answers here. I just gut feeling answered all these. We're gonna give Jazz some time to write his down. And we're going to reveal what we wrote. If we matched, we are going to get the victory points. And as always, it is a Boricua cuisine is our victory points. I asked my lovely mom. She came down here to meet the baby. Her name is Blanca. And she told me, pollo guisado, as you know
Reggie.
all about it. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I need.
Come
sorry.
on in. Yeah.
I need to take a break here.
Come on in. Chime in.
Reggie,
we always got to talk about the food.
This is my all-time favorite dish ever.
Okay. Do you want to tell the people what it is?
So pollo guisado is a stewed chicken in and of itself, right? Mm-hmm. It is. I personally like it cooked with chicken thigh. Just
fattier,
juicy meat.
Yeah,
yes, a little
juicy.
bit fattier. Yep. It is cooked. It's a red looking stew. A lot of Spanish seasonings. It's normally with
sofrito.
Potatoes are in there. Yes, the sofrito.
Potatoes,
all the
tomatoes.
Spanish seasonings that are going to be in there. Sazon, adobo, you name it. But potatoes are in there. Vegetables, whether it be corn. I'm not a big a corn eater, so like carrots. My mom makes a really good pollo guisado, and my wife makes an even better pollo guisado, which is very difficult. And it's just, I think my wife just has taken knowing what I love about it, and then just kind of just added her own little twist and flair. And I love it served over white rice. That's the best way to have it, in my opinion. I specifically like chicken thigh with skin on. I don't know. I guess maybe the skin just adds to the level of the fattiness that just adds into the seasoning. And for me, it's also better on the second day.
Ooh, yeah, which a lot of that, and again, we're going into food here, but a lot of foods, pastas, chilies, I feel like I've been eating a lot of like comfort food being home for paternity leave, and I think that a lot of food is better the next day. Like it is kind of it soaks up, but I would love, please ask her to let me get that recipe. I am the cook of my house, and I would love to make this. I would love to see how she does it. Yeah,
and the key is for both my mom and my wife. Is you gotta throw in like 2 to 3 basil leaves in the stew, so that kind of soaks in as well. But
the bay leaves. Or basil leaves.
I mean, the bay leaf. Sorry, the bay leaf in there that's crucial. Yes, very good. I know some people will. You can fry the skin a little. I mean, fry the chicken a little bit before putting it in the stew.
Get the brown it. Yeah.
Oh man, it's
we're getting hungry. It's lunchtime over there.
Yes, but Reg, I will give you some little hints on the recipe. I cook it myself fairly often as well. But yes, It is my go-to.
Great. And it's funny, I've had some friends reach out being like, I can't listen to this podcast without getting hungry here. I think we're going to run out of Puerto Rican dishes. I think in honor of, we're well past it now. I'm sure you guys have watched 100 million views on the Benito Bowl, Bad Bunny giving all the love to all of the Americas. And so we might start just throwing in, we might just do some learning here and we put a Mexican dish, we'll put a Dominican dish, we'll put a Costa Rican dish, and we'll just be educated as we go on, because we're not going to be able to, Puerto Rico, we're already got all the staples, I feel like, in 12 episodes. So anyway, really excited about this. What we're going to do is just a ladle. Each victory point is a ladle. We will earn a ladle if we match up. So we need to get these.
Yes,
we need
come
to link
on,
up
Reg.
Here. Okay, so I've written mine down. Let's just, for cereal, you have to write down all three,
Okay.
and then we'll just reveal them one at a time. Again, while you're thinking, it is most magical, most likely to be a grandfather is number 2, and number 3 is most likely to win a spelling bee. Dearest gentle listeners, DGLs, if you're listening, feel free to hit pause and take your time and write down your answers and see if you will match with us, and you can earn us some more points. And please let us know by commenting or sending us an email at boardstatespod@gmail.com.
All right, I have my 3.
Okay, let's reveal number 1 first. I'll say mine, so since I already read them, and then just say what you got. Number 1 for most magical, I think it was pretty obvious in my brain. I said Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms are magically delicious. That's what I have down here, too.
Magically delicious. That's great. He's proving it, people. He's proving it great. I love it. We have a ladle. We are starting our meal of our braised chicken stew. I love that. Most likely to be a grandfather, I wrote Raisin Bran.
Ooh, I'm there with the brand, but I'm all bran.
All brand. That is so close. We won't give ourselves a point, but see, like that, some people would at the game, you can kind of, if it's close enough, you can do that. It even said, like, if you can't remember the person's name, like if it's like the guy who wrote Romeo and Juliet, if you can't remember Shakespeare's name, like it's fine as long as you were thinking of the same entity, which is great. Okay, but we're not going to point on that. And this was the toughest. I'm like, I don't know what I would even put for this. Most likely to win a spelling bee, I wrote Special K.
Ooh.
Because of the letter K, yeah.
No, I went with an old school when I was growing up, and this was called Alphabits.
Alphabits. Oh, man, that would good. I'm sure there's some people in the comments right now going to be like, that's what I wrote, Alphabits, of course. Yeah. Okay, so we got one. All right, now I didn't even give you the next category. Next, we got 2 more categories, both board game related.
Okay.
So next category is accessories here. Okay,
Ooh.
Board game accessories is what I wanted to do. And these were straight from the game here. So good luck if we can get these here. The first adjective, number 1, is fanciest. The fanciest board game accessory. The second subject is most spontaneous. Most spontaneous accessory.
That's
I know, it's
interesting.
very abstracted. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm happy. I'm proud of my answer, but we'll see if we're on the same wavelength. And number 3 is the safest. The safest board game accessory. So 1 is fanciest, 2 is most spontaneous, 3 is safest. We're ready whenever you are. Listeners, write your answers now and see if you line up with us.
Can I quickly ask, what was that second one again?
It was most spontaneous.
Most spontaneous.
So fanciest, most spontaneous, safest. I mean, either way, it's just fun to hear the answers. It reminds me of a game that I don't want to bring up because I'm going to talk about it in a little bit here, but I like that thought process here.
Okay. I'm going to see if we're on that same wavelength.
Okay, let's see if we're 2 of a kind across the country here on the Board States podcast. Board game accessories, number 1, the fanciest. I wrote just table, like a fancy board game table. Yeah.
I almost wrote table.
Oh, okay. What'd you put?
I put like iron clays and metal coins, like, one of those things that
deluxe.
The deluxe like metal coins.
Yes, that is a great answer. I bet you some people matched you. Like my iron clays, I've been playing Carpe Diem with them. They're so great. There was another game, but I love them. That's great. Okay, most spontaneous. This is the weirdest one. I just wrote a dice tower. Ooh. Because, dice are kind of random and spontaneous. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking.
I like that. I threw like playmats, like when people just like bust out the playmat instead of the board, like, I think it surprises some people who've never seen it before. So
that's so true. That especially non-gamers, they're like, wait, like it's so funny, like talking to my in-laws, and they're like, why? So what does this do, having the mat? I'm like, don't you feel it? Can't you feel it?
Can't you tell you can pick up the cards better? They're like,
10 times better. Yeah, that's it. And then safest. This is kind of in line with that. I wrote one of my favorite accessories that I've been using since I was before in the board game Sleeves, card
Oh,
sleeves.
that's exactly
Protect
what I
them.
put.
Yeah.
Card sleeves.
Yes, let's
and,
go.
And I'm not a card sleever. I like to go raw. You know, it's just the way I
You
like
the
it.
game as intended. You know?
Yes, yes.
All natural is what you're trying to say there. I do like sleeves. I don't sleeve all my board games, but like my Marvel Champions is entirely sleeved, which is ridiculous. But that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I sleeve my deck builders. You know, the ones that I know that I play
builders.
all the time. Yep.
Okay, and lastly, keeping it board games, but we're going old school here. Just classic board games. So big box. You know, I'll just use one example. You know, the Monopoly era. You know, would be in a Walmart shelf.
Okay.
You know, 20 years ago is what I'm thinking here.
Okay.
So number one is Quietest.
Okay.
Quietest classic board game. Number two is Most Dangerous.
Ooh.
And number three is Most Modern. And I thought that was so perfect. Like the classic board games, what's the most modern? And I'm sure it'll be a good discussion. Right now, we do have 2 ladles of Pollo Guisado, but it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, take your time, and we're ready when you are.
All right, Reg. I think I have my selection.
Your 3? Okay, that's great. I was like, this is fun to do. And again, this is the downtime of those games. You just take some time, write them all down, and it just feels great. So my number 1 is the game that reminds me of Three of a Kind the most. It's what I wrote for Quietest. I wrote Scattergories.
Ooh. As Quietest?
Yes. What'd you do?
I don't know, listeners. I don't know. My games of categories have been pretty wild.
Yes, but there's a lot of that time where everybody's thinking while
there
the
is,
timer's
there
going
is.
on. But that's what this reminds me of. This is that same like decision space of like, what I'm trying to think of something, but in categories you're trying to not match the other people around the table. So this is like my modern day one. So what did you put?
I went with chess. It's just the quietest thinking, you know.
It was on my list. That was in my head. Chess. Yeah, that's a great answer. I'm sure people will match you there. Chess is like dead silent. Check is the only thing you say. Okay, Most Dangerous. I wrote the game that might topple on you. It's the original Dexterity, Jenga.
Jenga. Good answer. I was thinking more of the lines of like actually killing someone. So I went with
that was
Operation.
Yeah.
I went with the old school game Operation because you know you're
and you hear the bzzz.
Yes, you know.
Yes. My 4-year-old nephew has been playing Operation with my parents, so his grandparents, and we've been getting videos, and it's so cute. I'm like, Operation is a great game. Like, for a kid, like, that's so fun. And then, okay, I thought you were going to say this game here, the Operation. Number 3, for Most Modern, I just wrote, since deduction is just a very beloved thing here, I wrote Clue. I think Clue still holds up pretty well.
It does, and I wrote Monopoly, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's just what I went
because
with.
we live. There's a lot of monopolies now. I mean, look at Netflix and Warner Bros. It's like there's 2 companies. We're down to Coke and Pepsi. So
that was fun, Reg.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to try to keep it with games we know. I hope you all enjoyed that. DJs, we probably took a long time on there. We'll cut it up. Jazz's amazing editing skills there, and we're going to go right into the main topic. Because I'm sure we have a lot to talk about these games that we love but rarely play here today. So we each brought 3, and we might have an honorable mention or 2, and we'll get right to En La Mesa. So my number 1 is where I'm going to go with a little bit of a preamble here. So I have a little bit of a preamble for this one, and this is a game that has been in my collection for a little while. I had heard a bunch of recommendations. And the preamble is that, and I've already mentioned a little bit in this episode, but I don't think I've officially put it on the podcast, that I am home for paternity leave because I have an awesome little 6-week-old daughter right now. Her name is PJ, Phoebe June. My wife and I have been home for 6 weeks, and it's just been awesome. And Jazz and I have talked about parenting. It's been really awesome. And we've been home, and so what I've learned is like playing solo board games, playing video games, those are a lot harder to do than you'd think, even though I'm home all day. So a lot of what I've been doing is watching TV and movies, and I've been watching, on the recommendation of Co-Warner Games on Instagram, my buddy Colin, watching The Traitors. Have you seen this?
Yes, I have been watching The
with
Traitors.
Alan Cumming. And he goes, it's Alan Cumming, and they're a bunch of reality TV stars. I think that's my least favorite part about it, actually, is that it's just like people from The Housewives and people from Bachelor. I'm not big on reality TV, but it is a social deduction game. It's basically Werewolf or Mafia, and Alan Cumming's like, there are traitors amongst you.
Yes.
The floor is yours. And he's so amazing. I mean, he's my Nightcrawler. I love him. You know, I remember him from Son of the Mask, by the way, which is like a sequel to the Jim Carrey mask. Anyway.
Yep.
They go around and they there's 3 traitors, secret traitors. They kill someone, you know, eliminate someone, and then they do a round table and they discuss. I mean, it's literally Resistance. We were talking about Resistance Avalon last episode. I mean, it's just a social deduction game. I have my sister and my brother-in-law over, and we watched an entire season together in like 2 days, season 3. It was great. With Bob the Drag Queen. It was great. And we're watching it, and then after I was like, I want to play some board games, and they're kind of like, do you have like a traitor game, like a game? And I'm like, you know, and I don't. I actually genuinely don't have, like, because it's not my big genre. I don't have a social deduction. So I use BG Stats though.
Okay.
So look, and by the way, Trader Game is a mechanism on BGG, which is awesome. It's either a mechanism or a classification. This all Preamble, I promise, is going to work out. What I found out was like lying or bluffing is also one, and I have one game in my collection that I have not played in over a year until this basically last week, and it is called Sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh, wow. Great game.
Yes. Yeah, and it's bluffing, and it is kind of an exception to the rule for me that I don't usually like games where you have to lie or you have to talk and be a, you know, bluff. That's not a genre I love, and this is an exception to that rule, and I will not get rid of it for 2 reasons. Number one, for this exact situation where somebody's like, I want to play something where I get to be a little deceitful. And I was able to do that. And then the number 2 reason is I have the 2014 edition with the Dice Tower Essentials badge on the front.
Nice.
They came out with a 2nd edition in 2020, and the general consensus from what I can gather is that those bags in that one are cheaper made. They're not as nice, and the art's just a little different, and people really prefer the original. And I got it on a steal. Like, I think I got it used. And I just love my copy, and that is it. Those are the 2 reasons why I never want to get rid of it. But how it works is, you know, the sheriff is going to be, the role of the sheriff is going to alternate between players. And there's all these different goods, and there are, you know, apples, and there's cheese, and there's, bread, and there are chickens. But there's also contraband, and the contraband could be weapons like a crossbow, or it's black pepper, or it's silk. Which, as an aside, my favorite, if I had a board game cover band, it would be called Silk Contraband, by the way. Nobody steal that. That would be my R&B board game themed cover band. And all you do is on your turn, you put a number of goods in a actual cloth bag and you snap it with the seal. And that's the big thing, is the old version. The snap's just a little more sturdy and it holds up. And you have to hand it to the sheriff, look them in the eye and say, there's 3 apples in here, sheriff. And basically it's a majority of who has the most apples at the end of the game, but you also want to sneak in those contraband because it's worth a lot more. But if the sheriff calls your bluff and opens that bag, if you have anything that's not what you said, if there's anything other than 3 apples in there, you have to pay them money. And if you were honest and they opened the bag, then they have to pay you money if they, searched you without a just cause, as the sheriff, abusing their police privileges here. But then the only other thing that happens in the game, what was I going to say? The contraband's worth a lot of money. Wow, my brain has just completely stopped working here. It's the morning, you guys. We're usually recording at night when I have a lot of energy. You lie, you can bluff with the sheriff when you put the things in the bag. You select as much as you can. And if you do lie, you put the contraband face down if you succeed. And so people start knowing if you keep lying oftentimes too. There's one other mechanism that is just not popping in my head right now. But that's pretty much the gist of the game. Have you played the game, Jazz? Are you familiar?
It's weird because this is one that I haven't played it in quite a while, and it's one that I would play with my my family. And I think I remember leaving this one at my parents' house at one point. I don't remember if I sold it or whatnot, but I had that old edition, again, it was the nice one, and I know it's not in my collection in my house right now. Either I gave it away or it's like over at my parents one time. I used to take it over years ago, but we had a lot of fun with this one. Again, this is one of those where, again, yeah, like whether or not people will know if you're lying, and then you'll find ways now to not lie and get some things through, and then they're gonna trick them. So it's fun. I think I've always had more success in this game actually just telling the truth the entire time than I have lying. Maybe it's because the people that I'm playing with, they just know when I'm lying. But yeah, it's a fun one. I think this is one that if you're into this bluffing style or those party-ish style games but that fall in line with modern board gaming, this is always a fun one to check out.
Yeah. And when I got in the hobby, I mean, it was so beloved that I was like, let me just try this thing out. And I'm sure it's not for everyone, but it is fun, especially for non-gamers. It feels like, wow, this is a unique game I haven't played before. And I forgot the biggest thing. I was looking at the mechanisms. It's the bribery. You can bribe the sheriff and say like, hey, I'll give you. And so I'll give you some money. Yeah. Like, hey, don't open this bag. Like, how about I'll give you, there's a chicken in there. Like, I'll give you some extra chicken if you just don't open this bag. Which is also just adds to that level of like negotiation and lying and all that, which I think is really fun. And so that's Sheriff of Nottingham, the 2014 first Dice Tower Essentials edition. That is my first game that I rarely play, but I love.
Yeah, that's a great one. My first game is a deck builder styled game. And it's a very unique theme, I say, because you don't see a lot of sports themed games in this hobby. This one is a game that our buddy Ruel Gaviola is a huge fan of as well. We are huge baseball fans, and this is Baseball Highlights 2045. This is pretty much a 2-player head-to-head baseball style card game where each player takes a starting deck of whatever team, Chicago, New York. Let's take New York and LA, for example, just paying homage to my buddy Ruel on the other side of the coast. Okay. But in this game, you start off with a generic card, and in your deck, there are different types of players: humans, cyborgs, robots. And when you pretty much, one person's playing the pitcher, one person's playing offense and defense, in essence. When you play a card, your opponent is going to play a card to follow. And whether or not that card, you look at the 2 cards aspects, and some cards work better against other types of cards. The opposing card, for example, a cyborg might do better against a human, of course, because a cyborg is stronger than a human in essence. But what's interesting is when you play a card, you are threatening certain types of hits. So I might be threatening 2 doubles, and the 2 doubles might be with either average runners, fast runners. I think it's slow, average, and then fast and speed. It's white, blue, and red little pawns that you play with. And depending on what cards your opponent plays will determine whether or not those hits actually happen. And sometimes your opponent might play something that might cancel one of your hits, so the one of those 2 doubles goes through, and you actually move the pawn on the player board to go 2 spaces, and you're just playing back and forth, a quick, a 5-inning game, or if you want to play a full 9-inning game. But at the end of the game, you see who wins, and depending on who wins determines your buying power to purchase better cards to add to your deck. And you shuffle that deck, you're going to pretty much, as you add cards in, you're going to be demoting cards down to the minor leagues, and then you shuffle that deck, and then you play another game. And you play over the course of you get anywhere from 3 to 5 mini games. You can play a best of 7 series, and then at the end of your best of 7, you can have a World Series. There's so many different ways to play this game, but this is a fun, neat little deck builder. But what's interesting is, yes, you don't have to be a baseball fan to enjoy the mechanics of this game.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
Yeah, This is one that if they changed the theme, I think it would get a lot more love in the hobby, because mechanically this is a very fun game. And this is one that the reason I don't get to play it that much is because a lot of people aren't big, sports buffs, specifically baseball, and this is not the first game that they're going to pull off of their shelf, right? like my one buddy is not. He says I'm not a sports ball person, right?
Yeah, I have those friends. Sports ball. But here's my favorite thing: Seattle Seahawks just won the Super Bowl for the second time in my adult life. And my buddy, who would never step on a field, a court ever, he texted me right after and goes, "Yay, local sports team!" For the second time, by the way. So it's great. I get that. Baseball, I do feel like does have some crossover. We've talked about, like, Ruel
Correct.
and I have talked about this too, where it's like it's a little bit of a nerdy sport. You watch the Moneyball, you watch the people who like track everything while they play. It's got a little bit of a nerd slant, more than I'd say basketball or football or something.
I would say so. Yeah. And again, this is one of those fun, quick games. It plays in under like 30 to 45 minutes. But again, for me, being a heavy, baseball fan, I played college baseball. I was, working hard to make my major league, dream come true one day. It just didn't happen. But it's one that I can't part with in my collection because I'm just waiting for the day that says, hey, this is a baseball game. Let's try this. And yeah, it's just a fun one. I really do enjoy this one. This is Baseball Highlights 2045. And I think this comes from designer Mike Fitzgerald, and it's published by Eagle Griffin Games. So you can still get this one. But yeah, if you get a chance to try it.
They did like some sort of crowdfunding recently, right? Like they did a big a game found, I think. Yeah.
They might have done a game found, because I know this has come out there's been a couple different variations and like super deluxe versions of it. You can purchase like mini expansions, so you can get like the Caribbean teams to be your starting team. There's so many different ways to play. There's so many mini expansions you can add into their coaches, rally caps, hitters, pitchers expansions. So many different ways. It's a fun one. I would say if you're a big fan of baseball, and someone who's a big fan of baseball that you're trying to get into the hobby, check out Baseball Highlights 2045.
That's another thing that I really loved about these unique themed games, which I'll talk about my next one, is it can really bring people in, even if it's a little more complicated. Like if someone is motivated by the theme, which again we talked about in our theme episode, I could even tell you episode 8, then that's a big piece too. But they did a game found, the Bases Loaded edition. I can't see what date it was, but it is over, and I was really tempted with this. This has been on my list forever. I think you and I have already talked about this, but the brothers Murph also love this game, and that has also gotten me into. I just think the idea of like cyborgs, and they call them the naturals versus the, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Like, versus
yes.
like the, and it looks great. I would love to play this. It's on my list. Baseball Highlights 2045. Awesome. All right. So my next one is a game I rarely play. I have 3 plays logged of this game. And it's a 2022 game, and I just will not get rid of it because it has such a unique theme. And this is First Rat 2022. First Rat. Yes. Rats collect items for building a rocket to the cheese moon is the tagline. But basically these rats have lived in a junkyard and they've been reading too many comic books. And so they've learned that the moon is made of cheese. So they want to get up to the moon, which is just so cute. Pegasus Spiel is the publisher.
Pegasus Spiel, yep.
1 to 5 players. I haven't even played the solo yet. That's a big thing. I'm also like, let me play the solo. If I really like that, then that'd be good. I want to shout out, it's Gabriele Ausiello and Virginio Gigli. I'm so sorry. My Italian is very rusty here. But they are, part of that Italian designer crew too, which, they're famous for those heavy Euro games. But Gigli is famous for like Lorenzo Magnifico and Grand Austria Hotel, Coimbra, Alma Mater, so all those type of games as well. And the artist is Dennis Lohaus, which I actually did not know until looking at this, this is my favorite art of his by far, if that's his art. So I love First Rat, and I cannot get myself to part with it. And when I was thinking about this list, there's been so many times where I will look at my collection, I will scroll my BG stats, and I'm looking for games to cull. I'm at that, to be honest, I'm at that like 250 range right now. And I'm like, and I don't care about the number as much as I care about the space. And I'm like, I need to get rid of some bigger boxes. And sometimes it's like, there's no point in getting rid of these small boxes because they're not taking up any, my button shies, like they're not taking up any space. But every time I do that, I keep first rat and I don't do it. So on your turn, it's kind of like, I like to explain it to people when I'm teaching it. It's kind of like adult chutes and ladders, snakes.
Okay,
It's like a modern, you are going up a track and there's some little ways you can shortcut through. But every space is color coded. It's like yellow, orange, green, white. And what you can do is move one rat up to 5 spaces, or you can move 2 rats or multiple rats up to 3 spaces, as long as they land on the same exact color space. So I could move 3 rats, one of they all move different numbers, but as long as they all land on orange, then I'm good. And that puzzle alone, just that mechanism right there is really great. It's got that Parks Tokaido feel, where if you go to, you can't go back. There's only
can't go too far or something like that, or you can only move as far as the person in front of you, something like that.
It's just you can only go forward. There's no real way to go. But but it's kind of like once you've passed something, you can't
go backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's a couple different ways to like reset, but there's no way to like go backwards or anything, or get anything that you walk by. So it's really cute, and it's very simple, like set collection. You're just grabbing all these different pieces, and the pieces are so cute to like make a rocket. It's like calculators. There's baking soda and what is that called? The old volcanoes. You got kids too. What's the old experiment? You put baking soda.
Oh, baking soda and vinegar.
Baking
soda and vinegar.
And you can make a volcano. So that's the propulsion system. They get canned goods, and so it's really cute in that way. And there's a lot of, the first person to get here or to do this scores more points than the next people to go. There's a lot of pioneering, that Phil Walker Harding type mechanism. And then, and it's just a unique like point-to-point movement and set collection, and you can earn more rats and try to get to the top. And I've only played the base board, which is all the spaces are printed on the board. You can flip it over, and then it comes with all these different pieces that you can randomize what the spaces look like, And I haven't even explored that yet, too. So that's another thing. I think a lot of games in this category, it's just like, let me at least experience everything the game has to offer before I even consider getting rid of it or culling it. And it's a tough sell. I think it's a little harder for non-gamers, but it's a little light for serious gamers. I think it's in that interesting like Gateway Plus range. But I feel like this game doesn't get talked about enough, and I will not get rid of it. I really think I'm going to keep this game for a very long time. I would love to play it some more. That is First Rat 2022.
Yeah, this one's a unique one. I remember a few years ago seeing this at a convention, and I know a lot of people that were playing it. I didn't get a chance to play it, but it looked like they were really enjoying themselves. And I said, I got to come back and maybe check this game out. A local buddy of mine had got this game. He said he played it. He said it was enjoyable, but he culled it before we got the opportunity to play it. So I was a little bit bummed about that. But yeah, I've seen this quite a few times. This one does look fun. I was always super interested because just the theme alone was just unique in and of itself.
Yeah, it's just so cute, Yeah, love that.
That's a good one. My second game is one that, for me, this was like the Splendor killer for me. Like, I enjoyed it early on the hobby. I enjoyed Splendor. And then this game came out, and I immediately called Splendor like if it was like, the person that I didn't want to see anymore.
and evil X, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I haven't played this game as much. It's specifically because the edition is ugly, right? But I don't want to have to get the other beautified edition because it's just mechanically the same game. I definitely have under 10 plays. I probably have maybe 6 or 7 plays of this game. This was well before BG Stats. And this is Century Spice Road.
Okay, I thought that's what you were talking about, because the pretty version you are referring to is Century Golem Edition, which I
Correct.
do think is beautiful.
Yes.
And yeah.
And Century Spice Road by designer Emerson Matsuchi came out from Plan B Games. This is a engine building game where you are pretty much playing and almost like working in these trade markets, and there's a a card tableau out in front of you, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to be exchanging goods back and forth to acquire certain cards. And as you acquire these cards are going to give you more different types of goods that you're trying to build this engine to, in essence, gather coins to score points. Again, if you've played if you've played Splendor, this one I think is, I just find this one just a better game all in of itself. To be honest, I don't know why people have this huge buzz over Splendor at all. Like, to me, Splendor just feels stale. Like, I played it, I was like, oh, this is a good game, But then when I played Essential Spice Road, there's just the amount of cards, the way it comes, the way the market comes out. It's just a really, really great produced game. People, it doesn't have the crystal cubes that you see in the Golem edition. The artwork is still stunning, but it's just, instead of the gems, you have, cubes, colored cubes, but they still come in these nice plastic bowls, which is something you don't really get in games. Like, you don't get these like a deluxeified bowl to hold your components, which I was like, to me, that was like, oh, I'm getting like a deluxe style game. It's got its own like holder. I don't have to have my own trays to hold anything, or just dump out a Ziploc of cubes into different spots on my board. And then I got the playmat, which, makes it a nice deluxeified experience. But if I want to teach someone like a nice quick engine builder game that probably plays in under 30 minutes, I'm going to teach this game every single time, because what you're going to be doing is you're collecting goods to place them in your caravan, and then you play this card. It allows you to, you gather another card. It lets you trade one good for 4 goods, and then you play this.
It's like a lot of exchanging.
In this market. And again, I don't know, maybe it goes back to my love of like this economy based style games, right?
Yeah.
Where you're working this trade market to see how you can efficiently maximize your engine, right? Just to score points and win the game. But yes, this is a really fun game. I don't think it gets enough love because it just gets overlooked by Sentry Golem, which is ridiculously impossible to get. Yeah. And you can still find this game for under $20 used on the used market. I think, again, people are, I guess they don't, this one just gets overlooked because it's not Golem. And they're like, oh, I got to get Golem. Listen, if you're looking for about mechanics, sometimes it's not about all the components. You can deluxeify this if you want. Go purchase yourself some deluxe bits on Amazon or on BGG Marketplace, and you can, bling this one out if you want. But yeah, great game. I don't know what to say about it. It's just an awesome engine building game.
I truly believe that, I've done these type of videos and lists and I've watched a lot of them of like a beginner budget bundle. If you were going to start your collection over, and like you should have one of these simple engine builders in your collection. And if you're comparing them, if you're just financially, if you had like a $500 budget, like you're gonna like Sentry and Splendor, I personally think give you a very similar feel. And so like, why not do that? Same with why I always talk about Point City. I feel like Point City is not talked about enough. And I think that gives me a very similar Splendor feel. And again, Splendor's just an OG. Sometimes it's like, those are the type of things where it's like those amazing original poker chips and that quality really like impress people at the time. But I have a buddy who just has a new friend who's getting into the hobby, and they just played Splendor for the first time, and he's like, he heard a lot of great things about it, and he's like in love with it at the moment too. It's a great way to get people into the hobby, anything in the genre. I prefer Splendor Duel. I really love Splendor Duel, the 2-player only, and I like Point City, but I played Sentry Golem Edition recently, and it is beautiful, I gotta say. I mean, you gotta love that exchange thing, and I will be talking about that. I think Pyrotechnics, the game I'm talking about in Endless Mesa, this episode brings a lot of that in. So love that. Sentry Spice Road. All right, my last one. I really wanted to think of like, there's campaign games, there's big giant games. A lot of this category, a lot of games that sit and collect dust is because there's so much overhead with setup and everything. And I just couldn't think of any of those. I feel like when I've committed to these big boxes, I commit to playing them a couple times a year. And again, you all know I'm very much a medium weight gamer. So there's not that many that I don't play that much. So this is actually a party game but it is considered one of the GOAT party games. It's number 2 on there. That is Decrypto. Do you know this one, Jazz? Yeah.
I'm going to say this almost hit my list.
Wow. Okay, that's great. And the biggest reason is this is a party code type game. It is literally like Codenames. I call it Codenames on steroids.
Yes.
It's got a very similar feel to Codenames, but there's a lot more gamery thought process that's going on. And the reason that it is on this list, and the reason I wanted to talk about it, is because it is a party game for gamers. Like trying to teach this to non-gamers, like it kind of breaks people's brains, even gamers, but like it is a game that, hey, you have 8 people who are all committed to game and they like games. And they're willing to learn. So I would be very hesitant to teach this to my like family or non-gamer people, but people who are ready to sweat, quote unquote, but also are in the mood for a party game. This is the one. And so I even have the geek up bits for it, which
nice.
is very rare. It's just the little tokens that are just like more acrylic, which is nice. But I just rarely play this. I mean, I've got less than 6. I think it's like 5 or 6 players. I can't see right now. On this game, but every time I play, I love what it does to my brain. I love thinking about it. And so how it works, and it's really hard to explain in person, so it's going to be even harder to explain on a podcast. So bear with me if you have not played Decrypto. But there's going to be 4 words that your team has. So you could play, 2v2, you could play 4v4. You could technically, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can play with there's like 3-player rules somehow, but it's really a 4 or 8 or 6 or 8 player game. And these cards, you're going to have a little code. So between numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, you could have a code that's like 412 or something like that. So I will look at that 412, and I need to get my team to write down that code 412 based on the words. The thing that's interesting about this game is, unlike Codenames where the thing is hidden from everyone, our team knows all 4 of our words. We know what our words are from the beginning of the game. And so it's very easy to just say, if the word, this example here on Board Game Geek is nightmare, I could just write the word dream. And you're probably going to put that exact number down that associates with nightmare because our team knows that's the closest thing that that dream would go with. But what ends up happening is right before your team gets to guess on it, the other team gets to make a guess. And at the beginning of the game, they just kind of throw out a wild guess. Like they have a little bit of information after round 1. And they're trying to intercept it. They're also taking notes on each of your turns. Because if you make your clues too obvious, the other team is going to start realizing that there's the word dream, there's the word Freddy, there's the word Elm Street. I don't know. It's like whatever you think of with nightmare, scary or horror. Like they're going to start seeing a pattern of associative words associated with the number 2 slot. And they can just make a guess. They don't even have to know what the word is. That's the coolest thing about it, is you're not actually trying to discover what the word is. You just want to try to associate what the clues are with that number. I know this sounds, even saying, I'm like, I know it's really crazy, but once you play a round or 2, or at least a full game, I think it's one of those games where once you play it once, you're like, okay, I totally get it. I would like to play again. But I think that barrier for entry is tough, which is why I'm not playing this at family gatherings. But also it's a party game. And so if I do have 4 to 6 gamers with me, am I going to pull out a party game over, a Libertalia, over my other games that fit this category, an auction game or a trick taker? And that's where it kind of sits in that weird spot. But the experience is so fun. The tension of like, I have to come up with a word that my team will for sure get the answer, but it's not too obvious that the other team is going to be able to intercept. And so I just love that about it. I will never get rid of this. It is a beloved party game within the gamer community, but I don't think that many quote unquote normies, quote unquote non-gamers would know much about it. So that is Decrypto as my 3rd game there.
I love Decrypto. Unfortunately, I got rid of this game. I think it was for the same reasons that you said. It's a party game that I thought would go over well with friends and family who are non-gamers who have enjoyed things like Codenames. It's a significantly better game, in my opinion, than
I agree.
Like significantly. But again, I think it gets heavily overlooked because of that rules complexity. And again, maybe it's just because we're in the hobby, we don't see that the rules are that complex, but the idea of giving word clues and receiving those word clues and trying to steal the clues to then correlate it with a number and understanding what that 3-digit number is, I think it goes over some people's head. And people are so quick to, I know the word, and then but they forget about the number that's associated with the word. It's one of those things that I went to go play this with a group of friends many years ago that loved code names. And they were like, oh, Jazz, you want to bring over another game, a party game style? And I did. I brought this one over, and it fell flat. And I was, I was like dejected because I love this game so much. And I think I wound up, I might have gifted it to someone at work or someone in the gamer community that loved it. So yeah, that's a good pick. I really love this game. I thought of it, but again, it's not in my collection still to add to this.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, my number 3 game is a game. Yes, I did get rid of this game, but I still have access to this game whenever I want. So the reason I got rid of it was because I still have that access to it. But I really wish I didn't get rid of this game because this game is out of print. You can never get this game unless someone decides to reprint it. And I don't think Days of Wonder is going to give up the rights to this game. This is a incredibly beautifully designed and produced semi-cooperative, trader-esque, big group style game. And this is Bruno Cathala's Shadows over Camelot.
Wow, that is a classic. People love that one, yeah.
Man, this game, I have played it at various player counts, but this is the game that when you have a large group of people, anywhere from 5 to 8, because this can play, I believe, up to 8 people. Well, first, let me premise. The theme of this game is you are a knight at the round table, Arthurian, setting, and you are a knight at King Arthur's round table. And it's a cooperative, semi-cooperative game where the goal is you are trying to gain a collective number of white swords at the round table to win. But amongst you, there might be a traitor. And that one traitor is trying to sabotage the group win. So you don't know who's the traitor or if there is a traitor amongst you, because
I would want to play this with Alan Cumming. We got to get Alan. This is a traitor game. There's traitors amongst you.
Traitors amongst you. And you shuffle the traitor card into the deck of all the different clues, whether you're loyal or you're a traitor. Amongst the knights, and you destroy. And this is like Sir Gawain, the Green Knight, King Arthur, and there's so many different Lancelot. And what you're doing on your turn, very easy. You've got a couple set actions where you are going out to go to various quests. And on your turn, when you decide to go to one of these quests, move to a quest, you play a card, and they're numerical card values. Think of it like a deck of regular cards, and they have numerical values, and you're playing them out to these quests face down. And there's going to be the board in and of itself, because it is a cooperative game, is going to take its turn, and you're going to be drawing these black cards to this quest, and you're trying to have better numbers at various quests. So you have the quest for the Holy Grail, you have the quest for Lancelot, and you have the quest where you're trying to defeat the dragon. There's and there's another one where you're trying to defeat the Saxons, and another one where you're trying to gain the Excalibur, the sword of Excalibur, to your side of the river, because it's in the center of this like lake, and you're trying to draw it towards you by playing certain cards that'll move it towards you. But then there's going to be cards that are going to be drawn that's going to move it away from you. And what's really cool is that you're collectively as a group talking amongst each other and saying, hey, you want to join me on this quest over here, and we can play more cards to this quest, and you can draw that we can win this quest, so that therefore we can get a white sword at the round table. And the idea is to have, I think it's let's say you have to have more than half of the swords have to be white at the table to overcome.
Yeah, like a majority or something.
But yes, there's this awesome point at which the traitor can sometimes come out. There's an opportune time for the traitor to come out and reveal themselves, because you might have some people that there's where you're going to find it at a point where you're like, people start, accusing others at the table. There's no way you couldn't play any other better card than that, or you couldn't exchange and give me a better card, and you find out like, no, you couldn't. This is the best thing that I could do at this time. So you're accusing people that are not really traders, and to have that like trader like reveal themselves, and which just makes the game so much harder. And there's this cool like table talk and presence. When you have a large group, this is the game that you want to go to. I've had fun with non-gamers playing this game, which is the reason why I'm so defeated that I sold this game. But it plays well at even the lower player counts.
It says 3 to 7 players,
yes,
so that's awesome.
I have played it with 3, and I've played it with 7, but I haven't played it with the Merlin's expansion, which is ridiculously. It's just as much as, like on the secondary market, the expansion is just as much as, or if not more, than actually trying to find the base game. But this is a fun one. I love it. Trying to cooperative decide what you're going to do, and then once that trader's revealed and everybody's like super defeated, it's like, we got to do this. But now they're openly trying to destroy you. The trader's trying to destroy you. But yeah, Shadows over Camelot is that game that I probably am most heartbroken that has left my collection of any other game.
And you have a friend though that has it. That's what you're saying.
I do. Yeah. My buddy Dave owns this game, and if we have a large group, this is what I would be asking to put to the table.
That's awesome. I'm throwing it on the list. I've got a Jazz list. It's accumulating now. It's almost double digits here. I've got like 9 games on the list that when I play this, I cannot wait to report back on the pod that Jazz has recommended. I wrote this down. This seems really interesting, and I have heard good things about it. I did not know it was 05. That's awesome. I mean, that's
and
like
I think
an OG game now.
If you want just to get a good idea of what this game is about, you can go on YouTube and watch the old tabletop episodes of Will Wheaton's Tabletop, and they have this game, and it just makes it so inviting. It makes you want to play this game when you watch that episode. So go check that out.
Awesome. All right. Those are our 3 main games. I do have one honorable mention I will call out here, and that is The Crew, which is the trick-taking, cooperative trick-taking game, kind of put this theme on the map. And I've literally, first of all, it's $10. You're not going to get any money back for it as selling it. People love the sequel. I have the OG. I played a few rounds with some friends. They weren't really into it. And I've just been holding this for years. I mean, this is one of the first games I bought in the collection. It's not even that old of a game. And I'm just waiting for that one group who's like, let's just play a mission of The Crew at the end of every game night or whatever. I think I might bring it to game night tonight. The thing though is, the reason that I didn't want to put it on the list is that now I don't think the part of I might not get rid of it is not necessarily true anymore because of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I would agree. I've heard people accuse these games of like, why make a game that's not original? I'm like, if you can improve upon a system, this, I feel like The Fellowship of the Ring, I have not played Two Towers yet, but I feel like The Fellowship of the Ring just gives me everything that the Crew gave me, but with a paint of coat that a lot of people enjoy. We love Lord of the Rings around here. So, I think it is possible that I could get rid of it one day if I get through all of Fellowship of the Ring and love it and can keep playing it. The thing about The Crew that I do like is that it's just, you can play just any mission at any time. There's not really a story as much to it. And I think that's pretty fun. So I might pull that out and see what the people think. But The Crew is like the first trick-taking game I have, and I'm really happy to have it. But I just rarely play it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I really enjoyed this game, and I got rid of it. I called it for the sheer fact of it was difficult for me to get to the table with players, just because sometimes it was just the theme in and of itself that just didn't gravitate people. And sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes it's this theme that really brings people to the table, even though the game's good. But Lord of the Rings, both of the Fellowship of the Ring trick taking and the Two Towers will bring people in.
And I agree. I just think sometimes we have to admit that to ourselves. I think that's a big thing as gamers who are trying to bring people in. Like, you want to play the games you bring to the game night. You hate it. Sucks to bring an entire bag and not a single game that you brought comes out. Like, truthfully, It does. But you gotta read the room, And if people aren't down for this, it feels worse to bring something out and everybody hates it than to not play something that you brought. But
agreed. I had some honorable mentions as well. I would always say every TCG and LCG that sits on my table collecting dust, like like Lorcana, Star Wars Unlimited. Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born, Netrunner.
Oh
Great
my
games that
gosh.
I really enjoy. I just can never get rid of it because I'm waiting for that person so I can just play a game. But
Yep.
if I'm thinking of specifically a board game that I love, and I played it one time, my one play of it, I was, it just, the theme of the
That's
game.
rare.
The theme of the
Yeah.
game, the mechanics of the game, this tableau builder. But I'll be honest, Reg, it's been so long that I've played this game that I don't even remember all the mechanisms and how this game's played. But I remember loving it that much that I will never
Yeah.
get rid of it. And this is Cole Worley's design of PAX Premier 2nd Edition.
Oh wow! I have PAX Premier. That it is not a sticky rule set. Like I will say,
Correct.
it doesn't. It just every time I play it, I have to like basically read the rule books over and over. So yeah, that's a great one. Wow.
It's just 19th century where you're a 19th century Afghan leader, and it's pretty much a tableau builder, and you're trying to build these coalitions, and there's this like level of this dominance check that kind of, it's weird. When I think of dominance check, I think about that one check in that way where you have able to have a dominance rule in like Root, where you have this other alternate way of winning. But this is a game that just didn't go over well with my game group in the first time we played it. I guess because there's a little bit of that backstabbery and like take that essence in this game.
You can like assassinate people's people's
Yeah,
tableau. There's
tableaus,
a lot of that. Yeah.
So I think that's what didn't go over well. I'm gonna try and find a way to get this back to the table with them, and just maybe they forget that we've played it, just so that I can have that experience again. But yeah, this is one that is just a unique game in and of itself, and the cloth playmat is one that I love. But yeah, I remember just loving the play. So again,
I got a copy used for like $30 or something from somebody. Yeah, and it is in premier condition. I bet this dude like never played it. He maybe played it one time, and the production, like I've actually, I mean, we probably will do this later, but if we ever do like our favorite productions, like that is those pillar things that are
the little clay pillars.
Yeah. Yes, I don't even know the blocks. Those are easily my favorite component in any game ever, and I barely play that game. I just want to play with them. They're such toy factor and so ornate. I love those.
Yeah.
Awesome. We are going long here, so sorry. We just having fun talking about games we rarely play.
Of course.
I will be quick on mine here. We're moving on to En La Mesa here. Okay, these are first impression games. I've been getting a lot of first impressions lately. I've been playing a lot of new games here, but this is one that I think Jazz is talking about my favorite game of 2025, which was Moon Colony Bloodbath. I would say this is my biggest surprise of 2025, and that is called Pyrotechnics. This is a review copy. I received this from the publisher. Their names are The Seahorse and the Hummingbird, which I just think is a great name for a publisher. They have a really cool logo. Honestly, I basically begged for this game. I reached out to them because I had been playing this on Board Game Arena. I saw a video, someone highlighting it. It must have been the Digital Board Gamer. Shout out to the Digital Board Gamer, does great videos on BGA stuff. And I just started playing it. I'm like, wait, this is a very splendory engine, almost engine building, but it's really a race and it's hand management, but it does have that. It also is kind of a shedder. And so Jazz and I have actually been playing a lot of 2-player games on BGA turn-based. We're playing Arboretum. We got Jekyll versus Hyde. We've been playing Zenith, that I cannot beat you on Zenith. I don't know what's going on there. We're going to keep rematch until I win. Zenith, we've been playing Duel for Cardia, which actually made me think of Baseball Highlights. I'm like, Baseball Highlights kind of has a little, you play a card, then I play a card. But we've been playing a lot of those. Toy Battle is amazing. I love Toy Battle. Agent Avenue. There's a lot of, it was kind of the year of 2-player games. So I think this game, one, it's an indie board game anyway, but it kind of got overlooked. It's on Board Game Arena. In beta version, I really encourage you to go check it out. On your turn, every single card in your hand, we all start with 5 cards in your hand. They have 3 modes, and it's very much a multi-use card game, which we all love around here. We love a multi-use card. So what you have to play a card down in front of you for its research action. That's the symbol in the top left. There's like the 5 primary colors. Oh man, I want to make sure I don't get this wrong here. There's like the 3 primary colors and 3 like secondary colors. So it's like red, yellow, blue, and then you can combine those and upgrade them. One of the actions is to like exchange, so you can turn your yellow and blue into a green, or you can turn your blue and red into a purple. And it's actually how colors work, which I love it. It's very fireworks theme. It's very simple but clean and beautiful art. So when you play the research down, you select a card from your hand and you get to take the action in the top left. Then you have to decide one of the 5 cards in the market to do one of the bottom 2 actions on the card, okay? And those are called Discover and Showcase. Discover is usually some resources or a minor action. Showcase is you're showcasing that firework, so it costs a lot. It might cost 5 yellow chips to do that, or it might cost a blue and a purple, a purple and an orange, which are the like secondary colors, so they're a little harder to come by. And when you discover, you get that card, it goes back in your hand. When you showcase, you pay this big cost, and then that card goes away, but you have it as a victory point, and it's the first person to 5 points. But what happens is you get rid of a card instead of putting one to your hand. So now, once I've scored a victory point, I'm playing with 4 cards in my hand. And so I'm playing with less cards, so I have less options to play from. And so it's just this really tight hand management, shedding, a little bit of that splendor, that century exchanging part, that resource management, I guess is really what I'm trying to say here. It's really intense resource management that, if you lose tempo at all, you can feel it right away. If I'm like, I made a suboptimal move. It plays in like 15 to 20 minutes. It's very, very fast. And I want to praise especially the small box. I think this is going in my like permanent like travel bag because my wife played it and we enjoyed it. I'd probably play it with gamers too. I mean, it is the size of like a deck of bicycle cards, but even smaller. Like it's somehow just so tiny. And I think that's a big thing. It's basically a micro game. And I think that is something that if you can find a game that scratches that itch in your brain, gives you a little engine building in a micro game, you should definitely check that out. So this is Pyrotechnics. I encourage you to go check it out on BGA. Again, this was a review copy, but I really, really enjoyed this game. And I was just kind of just surprised by it on Board Game Arena that I reached out, and I'm just so thankful that they sent it to me. And now I have it as one of my travel games, Pyrotechnics.
Yeah, I was surprised when you invited me to a game of this on BGA, and at first I was like, what is this? I read the rules a little bit, and the idea of trying to manage that your hand and games. Obviously, we've played one game. I did lose, but it was a close game. I think 5-4. It was
after your first play, yeah.
My first play, but and you find out it's just trying to manage that hand and how you can optimize that hand the best you can. So I propose a rematch soon.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so easy. Like these are the type of games that I think these 2-player games right now are really shining, obviously in real life, but also on Board Game Arena, because when you log back on to take your turns, it's not this crazy mental load. It's a quick turn. You don't have to think that much about them, and I think this fits right. So if you like to have those two, if you have someone you like to play with on Board Game Arena, like I definitely check it out. Go check that out on the website. It's a very inexpensive game. Actually, I'm going to go to the website real quick and say it's $15 US, shipping only in the US right now. But I would definitely check out this quick game, Pyrotechnics.
So on to, as Reggie would say, Moon Colony Bloodbath.
By in space.
Donald X. Vaccarino, designer of the well-known, beloved Dominion. This is, like Reggie has maybe said this before on the pod, it is this engine tableau, like losing-esque game with like a cooperative deck building mechanic, right? But
yes, very unique.
But it's competitive. And it, trying to explain that when I was like, no, that's weird. But this is a review copy I got from Rio Grande Games. And I was surprised that they had wound up sending this one to me because I know it was so well received, and I know it was beloved of last year. And I read through the rules and I was like, oh, that's it. This is not overly complicated. I watched some playthroughs. I've only played this game solo, Reg, but let's just preface this before I kind of go into the mechanics of the game, is that this game, playing it solo, is the same exact game playing it multiplayer.
It's true. The only thing that's missing is the camaraderie.
Of everything. Yes.
But and you
all dying together, right?
Yes. You add in the loneliness card. Yeah, and I was like, don't make us solo gamers feel bad. We're not lonely, okay? We're alone, but we're not lonely.
So in this game, there is a cooperative starting deck that sits in the center of the table. All that deck comprises 4 work cards, 2 trouble cards, 2 twists. Add in the loneliness card if you are playing solo. And each card has different events or different things that trigger when that card is revealed. So that deck is placed face down, you reveal it, and you do what it says. If it's the work card, you get to do one of 4 different actions. You can mine, which is going to allow you to get money. You can farm, that's going to allow you to get food. You can research, which means you can draw more cards into your hand. You can build, which is build one of the cards in your hand out into your tableau that you're trying to build. And then you can restock, which is you're going to gain these boxes, and you're going to place these boxes onto buildings, which in essence don't really do much other than when the cards come out that allow you to trigger those boxes.
Yeah, they don't do anything inherently on their own, but
correct.
Certain cards want boxes to be on buildings. Yeah.
Yes, because if boxes are on certain buildings, you might have to pay less food or pay no food when there's a card that's going to
hunger.
Be
it's the hunger card.
The hunger card that says you have to pay 1 food per building that you have built. So early on in the game, you don't have anything built. No worry about losing food, but you're going to be losing food as that card continues to come out. And again, you draw through the deck. You're going to You're going to reshuffle that deck, start it over, but at the end of each full turn through of the deck, actually there's a card that comes out that's going to add events to the deck. And what's interesting is that anytime you add a card to the deck, it's going to go to the very top of the deck, so you know what's going to be coming out. And sometimes you know how bad that card going in is. Sometimes you don't even know what's going in. For example, you might be adding a robot into the card, and think of it as, yes, you're building this moon colony on this colony on the moon, and you have these wonderful people that are enjoying the moon, and for some reason they didn't test these robots when they took them to the moon.
These are all defective robots.
Because they're all defective, and pretty much robots mean people are going to die. In your colony, you start with 30 people, and you're trying to make sure that those 30 people are still alive, and you're the last person standing with people in your colony as they're going to be dying off. And if the moment you have no one in your actual base colony, you're going to start destroying buildings, and those buildings have a value of people, and in essence, the last.
I think about it like they're holding
a place.
People.
Yes, that building holds that many people. But what's so interesting in this game, and when I read the rules, I laughed at this portion of the rules. My wife laughed. I'm reading it, and she's watching I forget what it was. It might have been Traders we were watching. So she's watching Traders. I'm reading the rule book. I started laughing because the rule says the game end trigger is in the solo is once you get through all 13 events. Yes. Successfully without dying.
That's also in multiplayer.
In multiplayer. Yeah. And at the end, it's whoever has the most people is going to be the winner.
Yep.
Or the last person standing without having your entire colony killed off.
Exactly.
Which is mostly how most games end.
Yes, that's the bloodbath part.
I laughed because I was like, this can't be. I'm going to get close to the end. I haven't gotten past level 8. Event 8.
It's wild.
It's wild. I'm trying to it's pretty much a hand management, like an optimization tableau building game.
Yep.
You're trying to build the best, tableau. And as things are going in, you kind of know what's going in. So he's like, okay, I need this because this event's going to come out. And you know what's in that deck already because you've already gone through it maybe once or twice. And you're like, okay, now I need to start adding these types of buildings into the deck because I need more money to be able to build this. It's just a fun, really cool, interesting game. And I told my wife, I says, we got to play this one. I think you'll enjoy it. Maybe thematically, it's not something that's going to be attracted to her. I know. Mechanically, it is going to be a game I think that she will enjoy.
Cool. I love it. I could just talk about this forever. As you all know, as Jazz knows, I have a newborn and I have not been able to make a lot of videos, but I was also busy last year with a pregnant wife and with a lot of things going on. I didn't really get to play that many 2025 games, at least some of the big popular games, to be honest. So I didn't even have enough games to make a top 10 or anything like that, or even a top 5. I think now I could probably make a top 10. I think Moon Colony Bloodbath would still be number 1. So I haven't got a chance to really gush about it. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, Jazz. I really appreciate it. So here's my thoughts on it. Number 1. It's so unique. Like it is so genuinely unique. Like what upsets me about some people within the hobby, again, this game is a little divisive because they destroy your stuff. And I totally get that. If you don't want your stuff destroyed, like I can understand why this wouldn't maybe be a game you would love. That being said, people who are really steeped in the hobby and are always playing all the new games and they're just like, everything is the same. And then they don't like this game. I'm like, this game is giving you so much, which we've never seen before. You know, every turn, a card flips from the central deck, as we talked about. And and then we are all building that deck together. It is like semi-cooperative deck building that is just so unique. And what you haven't experienced if you only played solo is like there's these perks cards that can help you out, you know, the one that just help out just your character if that card comes out. And some of the buildings that you play also add in these development cards. If there's a bunch of cards added on the same turn, you shuffle them all up and then put them on top in a random order. So like there could be a robot, a development, and 2 perks in there. And you're like, I need that perk to come out first or I'm going to die. And then of course it's the evil robot that comes out. So I love adding cards to the main deck. I love that so much. And it just really is a fresh mechanic. It's just so funny where people are always complaining. This is so samey. This is so samey. Everything that comes out is just derivative. And then something fresh comes out and you're not loving it. So I'm like, I don't know how to please you. But you are guaranteed 4 actions in the deck. And I do think that that's important, is that you know when those are coming, but the deck keeps getting bigger and completely diluted with lots of bad cards that really make things tough. And when you're putting cards out, when you get those actions, some of the cards they're color coded. You know, it might be a restock orange or it might be a research blue or whatever it is. And so every time you do that action, you get some bonus action. You know, every time you mine for money, you get an additional 4 money or something. So you end up like making your actions a little more efficient. So I've played it a lot, even solo as well with the loneliness card. I have made it to event 12 3 times.
Wow.
Okay. Which means that 12 was added to the deck. You score, your final score is what number gets added last. And before you pass away, you need to add 13, and then the 13 card needs to come out for you to win the game. And it is so hard. You got to have the stars align in the Moon Colony. But yeah, I love it. I'm so glad we get to talk about it. I think, again, it's a little divisive, but I think it was like probably top 10 on like all the reviewers lists. I think it ended up being like number 10 or something for all the reviewers. There's a meta compilation that someone on Board Game Geek does that I love to see. So it got some love, and I think it was very well deserved.
Yeah, it's very unique, and I think this is one. And again, I'm not a solo gamer, but I really enjoyed this game. It's quick setup. It is. Yeah. It's just one I think that people should be checking out.
Yeah. And I heard someone say, like, it's really kind of party game-esque it feels like a party game, but it's got board game mechanisms in it, the tableau building, the engine building, the deck building that board gamers love. So I think that's awesome. Great. I love that. What we have finally, before we say thank you, is just really quickly the correction section part of the episode. I'm gonna get a jingle in here somewhere. Correction section, something like that. We're gonna give us a jingle. Somebody do a Dr. Pepper, baby. Give us one of those. I just want to say, I think I forget what episode it was, but I believe it was our top 10 5-1, which would have been, hold on, let me check here, which would have been episode 10, 2 episodes ago. We talked about Wingspan being my favorite game. Spoiler if you haven't gone back and listened to that. And we talked about what's going to be their next expansion. And we recorded that well in advance. And then it was announced in January that Wingspan Americas was it, which is the Latin America, South America, Central America, the American expansion. We both predicted it and we were both correct. I just want to throw that out. All of our corrections are usually negative towards us, but we did something right. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, and it adds this hummingbird track and this hummingbird garden, these small cards like viticulture card size, and these hummingbirds can go to your board and then they go back to the garden. When you attract them to your board, you get a little benefit, and when you send them back to the garden, you get to bump up a track. And it adds a bunch of just normal bird cards, and it is a great implementation, a great expansion. I really like it. It's a little fiddly, I'm gonna say. It adds like, I'd say 10% more time to the game. And that is something that like Wingspan Asia, the duet board, does that as well. So just know that if you already feel like Wingspan is like quote unquote slow, or if you have people who have really serious AP, this might be something to stay away from. But I played this with two other gamers. Shout out to my local game group, Brittany and Jake. And we played this and we knocked it out in 90 minutes, which I feel like is very, very, and first time playing, very normal Wingspan 3-player timeline. So really enjoy this expansion. I'm excited to explore it. I'm going to start putting up like my favorite bird cards on Instagram, because I've just been having fun learning these new cards and what the powers do. So yeah, not a central theme besides the hummingbirds. Like Asia had a lot of push your luck stuff, but I've been really enjoying Wingspan Americas, and I'm glad that Jazz and I called that. And let's wait for Antarctica and Africa coming next.
Yeah. All right, we want to give you guys as well, always thanks for stopping through with us. But before we even close out, we want to give a huge shout out to our friends. First, our podcast music by my buddy, my boy, Judge, a.k.a. Dre the producer, over on IG. And of course, to our buddy Kenan at Punchboard Cathedral over on IG for the awesome board game logo. But I also want to give a shout out to both Kenan and Edith over out there in Ventura, California, over on South Oak Street, because right across the street on South Oak, right across the street from Ventura Coast Brewing Company, they threw up their own little Punchboard Cathedral pop-up game nights that they have over at this. Listen, if you're out in the Ventura, California area, from what I'm seeing in the pictures over on Instagram,
it's popping,
Edith,
people.
What you are doing, this is awesome. This is a place that I would just love to have, just to go and just game, have a date night, grab a cup of coffee, get a little drink, and just sit down there and game with people. This is like, if you don't have a game group to go to, you just go to Punchboard Cathedral pop-up game night.
Game room.
It's an awesome spot. Yeah.
Thank you for giving them a shout out, because I've been seeing this on Instagram, and like Kenan has been so busy, and Edith is so awesome. Like, I've not even met her in person. I think she's the greatest. She lived in Puerto Rico and everything, but it just looks like so much fun. And I live in Portland, which I would say has a proportionately high amount of board game cafes and board game shops, and we have nothing as cool as the Punchboard Cathedral game room. So if you are anywhere in Southern California, I really highly want you to go check it out. They're test trying. This might not be their permanent location, but thank you so much, Kenan, for that.
Yeah, awesome. But again, thanks for listening to us talk about, again, as Reggie always says, the best hobby in the world, board games, because you could be spending your time doing many other things, but you chose to listen to us here on Board States, the podcast, where friends become rivals and the board states decide the outcome. We will catch you on the next episode.
Nos vemos.